It's been a long, cold winter, but the sun is finally shining on one of my Carbuyer shoots. So to celebrate, I've got the perfect car to review on a beautiful day like this. The all-new BMW 2 Series convertible. The BMW 1 Series convertible may have been the biggest selling convertible in its class, but it was criticised for being a bit of an ugly duckling. However, it's been transformed and has grown into a beautiful swan. The elegant, sleek 2 Series is a very pretty car, and unusually for a convertible, looks just as good with the roof up or down. But of course the roof has to do so much more than simply integrate well into the design. It has to work quickly, quietly and without adding too much weight onto the car, which can compromise the handling. So let's give this one a try. There's a little button here in the centre console. Flick of the button and back it starts to go. First part seems to be working pretty well. In fact, this roof is gone in 20 seconds and it can be operated at speeds of up to 30 miles an hour, so there's no risk of getting caught in those pesky summertime showers. And 5 layers of fabric mean it's well insulated to help keep both the cold and road noise out. But of course, the real test of how efficiently that convertible roof does its job is out on the road. I've driven quite a number of BMWs recently and have done some fairly lengthy drives in them. And the thing that's really struck me about them is just how consistently impressive they are to drive. And this is no exception. So BMW have given the convertible extra body strengthening to make up for the lack of a roof. And it gives the car a really nice, strong, solid feel with barely a hint of those wobbles and vibrations that can sometimes affect cabriolets. The steering is nicely weighted and it really lets you know what those front tyres are doing. There's plenty of grip and a lovely balance to the handling. It's just a joy behind the wheel and a really fun car to drive. Engine-wise, there's a choice of 3 petrol and 1 diesel engines. The cheapest engine in the range is the BMW 220i petrol, but we think it's worth paying a little more for this BMW 220 diesel, which is more responsive in everyday driving and more fuel efficient, giving up to 61.5 miles to the gallon. When it comes to noise, that well-insulated roof does keep things pretty quiet in here. BMW say that cabin noise has been reduced by 50% with the roof up. And even when it's down, keeping the windows up and using that optional wind deflector do keep things pretty bearable. The 2 Series convertible hasn't been crash tested by Euro NCAP, but there should be no concerns over its safety. The BMW 1 Series hatchback, on which it's based, scored the maximum 5-star rating. Added protection includes pop-up rollover hoops behind the rear headrests, which deploy in a split second if sensors detect the car is about to roll over. One thing I really love about BMWs is this Idrive infotainment controller. It's just, for my money, one of the best in the business. It has 8 what they call hot buttons that you can assign to various functions, things like sat-nav or your phone. The sat-nav also receives free updates over the car's 4G mobile data connections. What's even better is that all models will feature sat-nav as standard from July 2015. Standard safety kit includes airbags, anti-lock brakes, emergency braking assistance, electronics to help you stay in control if you skid, the BMW emergency call system, which alerts the emergency services in event of an accident, run flat tyres and tyre pressure monitoring. There's also an optional extra in the form of a pack called Driving Assistant, which combines lane departure warnings, low-speed automatic braking to avoid collisions, a driver alertness monitor that warns if it detects you're too tired to drive safely, and a camera that reads road signs, then displays the speed limit back to the dashboard. So what about the practicalities? Well, as you'd expect, there's a bit of a compromise over the coupe, but actually room in here in the front is fine, even with a taller driver than me in the seat. Where things get interesting though is getting into the back. It's a breeze on a day like this with the roof down. Not so much fun when the roof's up and you've got to try and squeeze in behind the seat. And then once you're in here, well, you'll see that it's a little bit of a squash. You see, the rear seats had to be moved forward to make way for the roof mechanism. And I think it really only works in the back here for smaller adults or for carrying a couple of children. Another thing to consider is that if you want to fit the wind deflector, it goes right over here, which means you can't carry passengers in the back at all. So you're faced with the choice of either reducing wind or carrying passengers. You just can't have both. Once again, the roof mechanism has had an impact, reducing boot space and making it an awkward shape to use. There's a hump underneath the roof, meaning it's difficult to load anything but squashy bags. And when the roof is up, you have to move it out of the way. It makes the space better, but it's not great. And I have a feeling that the interior may divide opinion. Now, the sporty low-down seating position feels really natural and comfortable, and there's plenty of adjustment in both the seat and also here in the steering wheel. However, it just doesn't have the elegant feel of some of its rivals. I'm thinking particularly of Audi here. I just wonder if there are too many contrasting sharp lines and materials. It just feels to be a bit too much going on. However, I can forgive all of those downsides because the 2 Series convertible does its main job absolutely wonderfully. On a beautiful sunny day like this, it just makes you want to get the roof down, get in and drive. If your heart is set on some open-top driving, then you should also look at our reviews for the Audi A3 Cabriolet and the Volkswagen Beetle Cabriolet. Click on the icon to view our latest video and click on the logo to subscribe.